Do you want to continue improving your English? Question mark. If you want to continue improving your English, then please continue reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Those are 4 fundamental things you can do to improve and enhance your English as you continue to get better and improve in the English language or whatever language you are studying. I will assume it is English because this is what this video is all about, and I'm making videos and putting together videos and things to help. I'm saying, hey, this is all about getting better with the English. However, it applies to other languages. What works for this works for the other. In other words, if it will help you get better in the English language, then it will also help you get better at other languages as well. I had to say it a second time. I said the word language twice just to make sure I said it the right word, the right way. I wanted to make sure I said the right word the right way. When you say something more than one time, that is repetition, repetition, repetition. You say it 1 time, you say it 2 times, you say it 3 times, like a song, like chanting, like yelling out your kids' names, or your mother or father, your parents saying your name. Billy, get back inside. Do the dishes. Take out the trash. Billy, 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 Billy. That is repetition. Every time you hear that mother, my mother, say Billy, that's repetition. Repetition. Saying the same thing over and over and over again. And that helps people to go insane because they get bored, and it helps them remember too. Sometimes repetition can help you improve your English as long as it's not too boring. These are the 4 things you want to do if you want to continue improving your English. 1, you want to write. Number 2, read. Number 3, listen. Number 4, speak. Speak like a dog. Speak, dog. Speak, boy. Or forever hold your peace. Or forever hold your peace. Speak, sing, chant, yell, talk in repetition, saying the same thing over and over until you get it stuck in your head so that you can be more fluent, natural, less predictable. And remember that one of the most important things is communication. That's when you want the other person to understand what you are saying. When you are talking to a person at the store and you want to buy some apples, and you ask them, how much are these apples? And they say, $5. And you say, oh, I thought they were $4. And then you start talking. You have some kind of exchange where you say something and the other person says something, and it goes back and forth like ping pong, a video game. Ping pong, back and forth, back and forth. One of the most important things is communications. When you're at the store, when you are at a restaurant, when you are at school, when you're at home with your family, or with your friends, or with your girlfriend or boyfriend, when you're in love, in relationships, too often communication suffers. And the one person thinks, oh, but she said this. And the other person said, oh no, but he said that and he meant this. And he comes and he says, no, when I said that, I really meant this. But then she says, but I thought you meant this. And you see this problem because communication suffers. And that is one of the most important things, and too often horrible things happen in relationships between a man and a woman because of a lack of communication. When there is a lack of communication, bad things happen. When there is not enough communication, horrible things happen. Bad things happen. Very, very bad things happen. That's my bad face. What? You said I look bad all over? Why? Thank you. I was trying to be sarcastic. You want to be understood. That's what communication is all about. And that is one of the most important things. Communicating is more important than spelling words right. Communication is more important than being totally perfect in your grammar, in what you spell, in the sentence structure, in all of those things. Being understood is more important. You want to make sure the other person can understand what you are saying. Even if you say some things that are not grammatically correct, if the grammar is wrong, it's bad. But what is worse is if the other person can not understand you. So number one, make sure the other person is understanding you. Make sure other people understand you. Because that is more important. And number two, if you have time, go back and see if you said the words right, if you wrote the words right, if you said in the right order, the right sentence structure, the right sentence order, the right grammar, the right words, or the better words, the best words. And work on that. Work on your grammar. Work on your sentence structuring and your word choice. And make sure you didn't use too many words. See if you left any words out that you should have said. Make sure you spelled the words right and said the words right. Work on your grammar, your spelling, all those things. But that's number 2. That's number 2. That is number 2. Because number 1, communication is more important. 'Cause being understood is more important than talking totally right. You can talk totally right, but what is the point if nobody understands you? How do I point at you? What is the point? If you want to improve your English, focus on communicating and talking better in spelling and in grammar. And remember those 4 things you got to do. Those 4 things you should do. But before I tell you what those 4 things are, again, let me first say, also, again, just to make sure you remember that being understood is more important than talking perfectly. Communicating is much more important. You want to be understood. You want to communicate to the best of your ability. Which means that sometimes talking in slang is okay to some extent. Sometimes, as long as people understand what you are saying to some extent. I'm not recommending talking in slang or writing in slang, in code, in shorthand, shortcuts where you spell words wrong, or where you say words wrong, or where you say words that aren't words, that are not words. But if you are being understood, then who am I to argue? Because communicating is more important. Communication is more important. It's more vital. It's more fundamental. And so remember that your first job as a human being, or robot, or animal, or whatever you are, is to communicate, to be understood, to transport information from you to other people, or other robots and computers, or animals and vegetables and minerals and everywhere else. Sometimes it's hard when we do not talk well enough, when we do not pronunciate well enough Like my younger sister, once upon a time, I used to have a younger sister. And I still do have a younger sister. And I was about 10 years old, and she was about 5 years old. And she would say things to me, and I would say, what? She would say some things to me really fast. She would sometimes ask me questions, and she would say, my sister would talk faster than I could understand, so she was not communicating well enough. And then I really wanted her to repeat herself, so I tried to ask her what she was saying. But she would usually say, never mind. And that was sad. If you are communicating, it should be important. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I am saying? It should be very important, or important enough to repeat yourself if you're not being understood enough to be understood, because that is the point of communication. It is a two-way street. That is, you are exchanging information with other people. Like, for example, I can say something to you, and you can say something back to me, and it goes back and forth, like that game, like that sport, like that video game, ping pong, like tennis, like table tennis. You hit the ball goes from one side to the other, back and forth, back and forth. But you want to make sure the other person can hit the ball that you are throwing at them. And they are going to hit the ball and throw the ball back at you. You want the person to hit the ball back and forth, back and forth. The same thing happens in English, in languages. You want the person to understand what you are throwing at them. Like throwing a ball, except you are throwing words at them. Like, for example, if you throw some words at somebody, like if you throw a question at somebody, you want the other person to catch that question, those words. They hopefully will. They hopefully will. And they usually do. But what's the point of asking the question if the other person is not going to understand the question? Because what is the point of asking a question if you do not really want an answer? It also reminds me of my mother, when my mother would say, whatever. Like, I would ask my mother questions and say things like, oh, why is the sky blue? What is the meaning to life? Why am I so small? Why am I not black? Why am I not Michael Jackson? Why am I not Michael Jordan? Why is my nose not any longer like Pinocchio? And my mother would say, whatever. Like my sister, my younger sister would say, never mind. My sister would ask me questions really fast, and I would not understand, and I would say, what? I would say, what did you say? I beg your pardon? Can you repeat yourself? And she would say, never mind. And then I wonder, why did you even ask to begin with if you were not willing to ask me the question again, slower, or just say it again in the same way that you asked me the first time? And this time I will try to listen more. I will give you my full attention this time if you ask me again. Or maybe you can ask and talk louder, you can speak up, or use different words or something, because it should be important, unless if it's not important, which is possible. But remember, you want to communicate or keep your mouth shut. Close your mouth. Close your mouth. Close, not open. Close, open. Close, open for business. Close for the holidays. Zip your lips. Open it up when you have something important to say. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth closed if you have nothing good to say. Do you want to continue improving English? Do you want to continue improving your English? Now, I say the word continue because I know that you have not started today, and you're not going to begin learning English right now, because if you are still a beginner right now, you would most likely not understand what I am saying well enough. And that is why I'm not saying and asking, do you want to begin learning English for the first time, like as if you don't know a single English word of the English language. Because I know that you know. Me, this guy, I know that you know. I know that you know that I know that you are still improving your English, and I am telling you and begging you and trying to encourage and inspire you to continue improving your English, whether you are a native English speaker born and raised in the United States of America, or in Europe, Africa, Australia, Islands, Antarctica, North Pole, South Pole, or even Asia, and even Vietnam. Whether you're a native speaker, born, raised, speaking in the English language, or if you are not a native speaker and you started learning later on in your life when you're 5 years old, or 10 years old, 12, or 15, or 20, or 50 years old. No matter who you are, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or an expert, whether you're native or not, you can still continue getting better. I can get better, and you can get better by improving the 4 fundamental building blocks. Please continue improving your English skills by reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You want to read, write, listen, and speak. You want to listen, speak, read, and write. Because an apple a day keeps the teacher away. Or was it an apple a day keeps the doctor away? It probably keeps both of them away. Because if they come back and find out that your room is still dirty, they will come with a big pan and spank you. Because that's what the doctor ordered. Can you smell what the rock is cooking?